So I was given the opportunity to do this with a PowerPoint presentation, and at this point in my career, I can hardly speak without one, so I took the opportunity to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. I may need some instruction. Oh, there we go. So I thought it would be helpful to briefly review some of the thinking that has taken place around the issue of social accountability of medical schools. And as far as I know, the first real discussion of this topic was originated by Dr. Charles Bolin at the World Health Organization at that time. And he was joined by a young American named Jeff Heck in developing this document entitled Defining and Measuring the Social Accountability of Medical Schools. That was in 1995. And they developed this definition that social accountability is the obligation for medical schools to direct their education, research, and service activities toward addressing the priority health concerns of the community, region, and or nation they have a mandate to serve. So they were addressing not just medical education, but also research and service. And I would say that Dr. Kaufman in his remarks a few minutes ago also addressed service and research as well as education. So I think we are here to think about all of those aspects of what a medical center does. This is the mechanism they developed for measuring social accountability. They looked at values of relevance, quality, cost effectiveness, and equity in the three domains of education, research, and service, and divided each of those into planning, doing, and impacting, and then offered us the opportunity to put a score in each cell. Nothing much happened then for a few years until 2 years ago when Dr. Bolin, again, joined with a Canadian colleague, Bob Woolard, from the University of British Columbia, and they organized a program to develop a statement entitled Global Consensus for Social Accountability of Medical Schools. And this was their definition, not unlike the previous one, improving quality, equity, relevance, and effectiveness, so those values again, in healthcare delivery, reducing the mismatch of societal priorities, redefining the roles of health professionals, and providing evidence of the impact on people's health status. They had a first phase of running through a Delphi process with 130 organizations and individuals that constituted an international reference group. They had a 20-member steering committee that reviewed the findings. They held a conference in South Africa, attended by 65 people, and came up with a document that includes 10 different criteria that one looks at in evaluating the social accountability of a medical school. I'm not going to read all of those in the interest of time, but those are 5, and those are another 5, and you can find all this on the internet quite easily by Googling social accountability of medical schools. They offered us the opportunity for a phase 3, collaboration, conferences, and new committees, and perhaps this is one of those, collaborations, conferences, or new committees. Next, we find the document that Dr. Kaufman talked about, the article by Fitzhugh Mullen and his colleagues entitled The Social Mission of Medical Education, and he was looking only at education, not research or service. They had a definition of social accountability in which they said the basic purpose of medical schools is to educate physicians to care for the national population. Fulfilling this goal requires an adequate number of primary care physicians. In the U.S., we consider primary care to be family medicine, general internal medicine, and general pediatrics. Those 3 specialties we define as primary care. Adequate distribution of physicians to underserved areas and a sufficient number of minority physicians in the workforce. So they evaluated schools just on those 3 parameters: the percentage of graduates who work in health professional shortage areas, the percent who practice primary care, and the percent who are underrepresented minorities. And you saw this, the greater version of this table just a few minutes ago, with Morehouse at the top. This says Morehouse College. That was an error. It should have said Morehouse School of Medicine, and that was corrected in the next edition of the journal. So we have gotten a lot of mileage out of that. We talk all the time about being ranked #1. We're very happy about it, and so I thought I'd briefly talk about how Morehouse got to be #1, and this has to do with the Beyond Flexner study that was mentioned a few minutes ago. I actually adjusted some of these slides after I understood that Dr. Kaufman was not going to get here, and so he would not already have talked about the Beyond Flexner study, but I think sometimes it's good to hear things twice and you remember them better that way. So in the Beyond Flexner study that Dr. Kaufman described, they looked at these 8 characteristics. And so let me tell you a little bit about Morehouse and how we fit into those 8 characteristics. So we're a new medical school, relatively new, started in 1975. We are a historically black medical school, meaning that almost all of our students and almost all of our faculty are African American or black. We are trying to reach out more to the Hispanic community now with indifferent success, a bit of success. I'm one of the relatively few white faculty. Our focus is on primary care, medically underserved communities, and the health of minorities. And this is our mission. And we talk about our mission all the time. Everybody understands what the mission is and that the school is about pursuing this mission. This is where we're located. Atlanta, Georgia is this little dot. I copied this off of the school's website. We are on a mission. It's kind of a play on words because that's mission in a slightly different sense, but we are all about mission. Unfortunately, we have this rather extensive mission statement. A wise man once said, your mission statement should be short enough so that you can put it on a t-shirt. It would require a large t-shirt for this, but as it turns out, all the elements of our mission are in here. So increasing the diversity of the health professional and scientific workforce means more minority physicians. Primary health care. The underserved urban and rural populations in Georgia and the nation. People of color, meaning African Americans and Hispanics. So that's mission. That was the first characteristic. This is pipeline. We have what's called an Area Health Education Centers program. There are one of these programs, or more than one of these programs, in almost every state. It's a pipeline that goes from recruiting minority students from elementary school and secondary school and colleges. Once they're in medical school, we give them the opportunity to get part of their training in rural and urban underserved communities. And once they have graduated and are in practice, we provide them with continuing education opportunities, library services, other things that will help them survive in an underserved situation. And we have a lot of other pipeline programs, summer experiences, laboratory experiences. We have an Explorer post, which is like a Boy Scout troop. So a lot of pipeline stuff. Admissions was the next one, and like other schools, we look at MCAT, medical college admissions tests and grades, and we look at the difficulty of courses and so forth. But we also take a hard look at what we call non-cognitive factors, experiences that the students have had, such as working in homeless shelters, evidence of student character and responsibility and compassion as derived from looking at essays and from interviews, and the admissions committee thinks they can do a pretty good job of identifying these characteristics in applicants. This is a little table that shows that this is the class of students who are scheduled to graduate this year. this academic year. And when they were admitted, their medical college admissions test scores were not as high as the national average. Their grade point average was not as high as the national average for entering medical students. But on their first shot at a National Board of Medical Examiners examination, the U.S. Medical Licensing Examination, Step 1, they did better than the national average. So you can take students who do not have, or applicants who do not have the classic grades and admissions test scores, and with a good educational program and the right kind of support, they can do just as well or better than the outstanding students who may not be consistent with the school's mission. In the curriculum, we offer multiple opportunities, or require multiple opportunities, to get out in the community, to learn about epidemiology, to spend some time in a rural area. We have an honors program in community service. We award small grants to student applicants to do community projects, so they get a lot of community experience. In location of clinical experience, I think we don't do as well as some other schools, but all the students do have a rural clerkship. And in pediatrics, they spend a lot of time in community health centers. Our other clerkships tend to be rather traditional. Tuition management is another quality that the study examined. We have the third lowest tuition among private allopathic medical schools in the U.S. Baylor is in Texas, University of Miami is in Florida. The figures you see here are for in-state students. So unless you live in Texas or Florida, Morehouse actually has the lowest tuition of any private U.S. allopathic medical school. But $43,000 is a lot of money, even if it is the lowest. So tuition management is a serious problem. This is a letter that I got just the other day, actually, because I set up a scholarship fund, and student scholarships are our top institutional priority. So we're continuously trying to raise money for scholarships to take some of the burden of that $43,000 a year away. We have a mentoring initiative. We do our best to counter the hidden curriculum, provide guidance about career options, and counseling about residency selection. All this is directed by the mission of the school, the primary care, underserved community, minority health, minority students. All the other factors that I talk about are driven by the mission, and my concluding remark is that I think this is the thing that actually makes the difference. If you have a mission that says something important and you keep that mission in front of everybody all the time, it makes a difference in everything you do. Do we do questions now or later?